What is up, everybody? We're rolling audio here today on episode 70 of The Hotter Show. What is going on? How are you? I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day so far. Thank you so much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. Very excited because we are on episode 70. I get sentimental about milestone type deals, like episode 70 and that kind of thing. And I was going to do something special for today, and I kind of decided, you know what, no, I'm going to do a live cast for episode 75. Still haven't quite decided if it's going to be on YouTube or on Facebook yet, but I will let you guys know the second that I figure that out. It's just kind of a matter of seeing if I can't get my computer set up for the YouTube streaming. If I'm able to, I'm going to do it on YouTube. If not, then I'm going to have to do it on Facebook. It's just a matter of figuring that stuff out. So I'm going to have the producer Brandon Bowden come over and give me a hand. As of right now, it is going to be on the 10th, November 10th. I know that is a Thursday night, so some people may not be quite able to make it out. I didn't want to do it on the weekend because I know that Out of My League are having a big show that night on the night I was going to do it on the 11th. Sorry, not on the 11th, the 12th, and I want to go to that. So I am not going to be doing it on that evening. So definitely be sure to keep your eye out for that. It'll be on the 10th. Definitely keep a very close eye to the event page. Any information I'll be posting on there. But today is the 70th episode of The Hotter Show, so I wanted to do something special kind of before I got into the meat and potatoes of the podcast here today, which is going to be something I've been meaning to do for at least the last month and a bit, and that is review Outshined's latest offering, their EP, their self-titled EP. It is an awesome EP, and I want to give a little review, and it's something I've been meaning to do, so I said, you know what, let me do it today. When I did my Facebook live stream the other night, I know that I kind of had mentioned I was going to do it at some point, and I figured, you know what, no better time like the present. So, but like I said, before I get into that, I wanted to kind of do something to commemorate the 70th episode of the podcast. So aside from obviously saying a big thank you to you guys and to everyone who has helped make this possible, I need to thank my good friend, my buddy, Mr. Brandon Bowden, for all that he has done to help the podcast get to this point. I got to thank all my past guests, Mav, Brandon Hastings, and the guys from Outshined. You got Dom, Anthony, of course, my man, the heel Ryan Wood, my man, the Mark Matthew Cannons. We got 2 Count Garrett Coles. I got to give him a big shout out as well. Got to shout out Sam for being on the podcast, and of course all the support she's given me, all my family for all of your support. I need to thank a big huge thank you to my man Mr. Jason Reese over at Jaybird Digital Arts for all of his support of the podcast, always making sure that my logos and banners and all that kind of thing are amazing and up to point, even the memes and that kind of thing. So I need to thank him for that. So Jason, thank you so much for everything you've done for the podcast. And last but not least, I need to thank every single one of you for all you have done for the podcast. I want to make sure you guys understand that this would not be possible without you guys, without your support, because if you guys don't click on the play button, then, really, there's no point in doing the podcast. Like I always say, I do this podcast mainly for me. It's fun for me. It's become a massive, huge hobby of mine. But that being said, I also do it for your entertainment and your enjoyment. So if you guys weren't entertained and didn't enjoy it, what's the point of doing it? So that's that. I wanted to get those thank yous out of the way. But what I wanted to do was give you guys 7 episodes from the past 70 episodes of The Hotter Show that were kind of my favorite episodes to record. And this was very, very hard because I didn't want to pick episodes that had the most views and the most plays, so to speak. But a couple of them were, because they literally were just that fun to record. And I think that showed. I always have fun recording all the podcasts, all the episodes that I do. And there's a couple of them that are more recently that I had a lot of fun doing. Even today, I just spent the day actually recording some podcasts with a couple of my buddies. So that was very fun. You'll be hearing those podcasts soon. But a couple of these podcasts are with guests, a couple of them without guests. So it's a good variety. I think these are definitely a few. Some of them are, I think, some of the best episodes the Harder Show's ever done. They're definitely my favorite episodes for whatever reason. But I'll give you guys the 7 of them here. The first one I have on my list here, and these aren't necessarily in any order. It's just the 7 I picked. I have episode 34, which was the Use Your Fucking Turn Signals episode of the podcast. Definitely the angriest podcast I ever have done. I think that's why so many people enjoyed it. It was probably the first real ranty episode that I ever did where I just went off, which was what I didn't want this podcast to be, because I was worried about kind of that becoming that niche. Oh, hey, there's that guy that always rants about stuff and yells and swears all the time at stuff. But I did it. I was frustrated about it, and I sat down and talked about it, and I think it really showed through. That's the episode that I have people who don't listen to the podcast regularly hit me up and say is their favorite episode. So definitely very much enjoyed that episode. That episode and this isn't on my list, but the episode 66, the Mikes and Beers podcast that I did with Garrett and Matt, a couple people have said that they really enjoyed that. And I can promise you guys you will enjoy part 2 even more. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. But episode 34 is on my list here of my top 7 episodes I've enjoyed doing and that are my favorites. Next one I have on my list is episode 31, which was the 2016 Battle of the Bands episode, review kind of deal. That episode was cool, just like the Talking Local Bands one, which was a close runner for this list. But the reason I chose this one is because this was almost more of a critiquing in a way, but it was all a positive critiquing, because I didn't feel the need to say anything negative about any of the bands. So I really enjoyed that. I know a lot of the bands really appreciated it. A few of them hit me up and said they really appreciated the honesty and tell them what I like about their bands and that kind of thing. I would imagine that kind of stuff helps. I don't know, but either way, that was a great episode. Really loved doing that episode. Next episode I have is actually my most listened to podcast I have ever done. And it was also one of the funnest I've ever done. And again, I think that correlates with why it has so many views. I also think it was just timing. And that was episode 26, which was the WWE Payback pay-per-view review that I did with my man, Mr. Brandon Bowden. That was a very cool episode because we sat down specifically to talk about Payback. And that was also one of the longest podcasts I've ever done, aside from the live casts. It was almost 2 hours. And the first half an hour, 45 minutes was us just talking wrestling, and it was so fun. Me and Braden hadn't really sat down like that and talked for a while, so I think that was one reason why. It was just such a blast. We talked wrestling. We had some great reviews of the show and that kind of thing, and a lot of wrestling fans have hit me up and said they really enjoyed it. So that's always good. The wrestling reviews are always fun. I'm hoping to be able to do one for the next pay-per-view coming up, Hell in a Cell. I'm really, really hoping we're going to be able to make that happen. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely the most listened to podcast I have. I think it was around 277 plays when I checked last, which was just today as I record this. So that's cool. It's awesome that it's up in that registry. So very good. Episode 26. If you're a wrestling fan, you may enjoy that. The next one I have is actually another wrestling one, and it is my second most listened to podcast. And this is probably the most I've laughed as far as in a podcast. I did it with my 2 buddies, Ryan and Brandon, and we did the WrestleMania 32 review. Not review. I think this was the predictions. And this is the one where, Brandon had me dying laughing. I didn't laugh as hard as I do in the Mikes and Beers podcast. In that one, I literally have to stop talking for a few seconds and just collect myself. But this one was the one where Brandon he predicted Dean Ambrose jumping off the building and rebounding off the ropes and coming up and hitting Brock Lesnar with a clothesline and stuff. It was just ridiculous. And Ryan had some outlandish, crazy, funny predictions. It was just great. It was a really fun episode. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, it was funny. But obviously, if you're a wrestling fan, it would make a little more sense about what we're talking about. But that was a great one. That was episode 18 of The Harder Show there. That was a long time ago. That was crazy. That's how long ago it was. The next episode I have is my hangouts I did with Anthony from Out of My League. He's made 4 appearances on The Harder Show. Always a great time. I feel like I had a really great chemistry with Anthony, and I know he really enjoyed being on the show as well. That was episode 53, 54, which was kind of like his sit down, hangout, kind of almost interview-esque type episodes being on the podcast. Episode 61 was just us shooting the breeze about so much different stuff. And then, of course, episode 68, which is the most recent one on my list here. It just happened a couple last week. This was the gaming podcast I did with him. So I'll consider that one episode. I'm kind of cheating doing this, but all those episodes are always fun with Andy. So definitely check them out. Especially if you're a fan of Out of My League, you would really enjoy episodes 53 and 54 because he talks about the band in depth and that kind of thing. And then the next one I have up is another kind of two-parter. So I kind of cheated, but whatever. And that was Outshine's hangout and interview. I had such a blast. I went over to their place with the expectation to be there for 2 hours. I was there for like 6 hours. It was just a blast. We had so much fun. I know those guys really enjoyed being on the podcast. They talk so much stuff, the formation of the band, their music. They go very in-depth about their EP, which you are going to not only hear a review of here in just a little bit, but you're also going to hear some music from. That was episodes 51 and 52, so definitely some very good episodes. I highly recommend you guys check them out. Very, very good episodes. And last but not least, we have my favorite podcast that I've ever done. This is definitely, it is for sentimental reasons for me. It's a shorter podcast. The quality isn't great just because I was still figuring out my new board when I got it. And that was episode 59 that I did with Sam. Because I've been trying to get her on the podcast for 59 episodes. And I never thought it was going to happen, and it did. So I really, really, really enjoyed that podcast. I loved that she sat down with me finally to do it. And if you're interested in checking it out, definitely check it out. It's a good episode as far as things we talk about and that kind of thing. It was more for me than anything. I just really wanted to document that, and it was such a wonderful thing. So for me, it's definitely sentimental value that it's one of my favorites episodes. But either way, I just think it was good. So those are my 7 favorite episodes that I've done. I need to give an honorable mention to the live cast episodes. Obviously, I have a ton of fun doing those as well, but they don't really count because they're not like full podcasts. They're kind of something else. But that's that. So those are 7 episodes. Again, I need to thank all of you for all the support with this podcast. I cannot believe we're on episode 70. I have no indications of slowing down. I have so many ideas for the future. So stay tuned. Definitely keep an eye out for the episode 75 kind of live cast, live stream, whatever ends up happening. Keep an eye on it. And yeah, that's that. So we're going to get into this Outshined EP review here. Get ready to hear some sweet music. Let's get into it. Alright, so who is Outshined? Well, if for some reason you don't know who Outshined are a 3-piece hard rock band from Bowmanville, Ontario, featuring Brandon Hastings on guitar and vocals, Braden Jeffries on bass, and Dylan Porter on drums. A great group of guys. Not only do they play kick-ass rock and roll, but they deliver it with a very unique twist, with a big group of influences ranging all the way from Big Wreck to Alter Bridge to Metallica and so many other influences. If for some reason you have not heard of them before, obviously you don't listen to this podcast very often because I've talked about them before. I'm just kidding. But if you don't know who they are, I definitely recommend you check them out on their website, Outshined. That's OUTSHINED.ca. I'll be sure to link that in the description of this podcast. But I really wanted to do this review. They're such a wicked band, and this is such a wicked EP that I figured, you know what, I'm just going to sit down and do it. If you have not heard them on the podcast before, Brandon Hastings, he's been on episodes 28 and 29. And the whole band were on episode 51 and 52, which I mentioned earlier in the intro there. Definitely recommend you guys check them out. Very, very good episodes, great episodes, and just good band. You'll learn more about the band and that kind of thing if you're interested. But I'm just going to get underway with this review here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give a little blurb about each song, what I like about it, that kind of thing. What if there's something I don't like about it. And then I'm going to play each song for you guys right here on the podcast. You have already heard in my intro, and if you listen to the podcast regularly, you've heard Why before, which is my intro song and my outro song. But I haven't played the full song for a while on the podcast here, so I am going to play that song. I'm going to play all the songs for you guys. But first, I'm going to give a little blurb about each. So, if you're ready to rock, we will get right into this review here. Now, the first track that we have is track 1, and this track is called Shut. Now, this to me, guys, it's rock and roll to the core with a modern twist. Shut starts off with the EP with a huge bang with great guitar work from Brandon and a very killer drum intro from Dylan. And of course, the whole thing is held together with a great groove. The riff is very unique. It's one of those riffs that not only can you play air guitar to it, but you can also kind of sing it to yourself, which is very, very cool. The lyrical content is great. Definitely pretty straight out rock and roll. Just kind of almost a middle finger to somebody who's trying to control your life and that kind of thing. Keep your mouth shut. You can't control me. All that kind of stuff, you know. This song actually has one of my favorite lyrics in like all of modern rock right now. And that lyric is, and I quote, "You say that patience is a virtue. I hold my middle finger up to you." I mean, I think that's a pretty great friggin' line. When I first heard that, I just was like, damn, like that's sweet. I heard a lot of these songs when I did the podcast with the boys. They kind of showed me, gave me a sneak peek at some of the songs. And Shut was definitely one that the second I heard it, I went, that is a beast of a song. I said, you know, this has radio potential on it and all that kind of thing, and I wasn't wrong. Is a very, very awesome track. Brendan definitely shows off his versatility in this song. You know, he's singing kind of higher notes, softer notes, all that kind of thing. The pre-chorus is probably definitely my favorite part of this song. Just kind of the way it ties everything together with the killer hook that is in the chorus. The kind of background vocals they have is very, very awesome. I think that the solo is also wicked. All around, it's just a very great tune. I know that a lot of people have said to them that Shut's one of their favorite songs. It's definitely, like I said earlier, guys, it's a modern rock track, hard rock track. It's pretty straight to the point, but it still has a rockin' sound, a very rockin' groove. So I'm going to play this now here for you guys. Crank it up and get ready to hear Shut.
Just a loud in your face. It's what
right, so that was Shut, guys. That is a rockin' freaking track. Love that tune. And one thing I forgot to mention that I always love about that song is in the verse, Brandon, he's showing off his vocal versatility, but one thing that's always great is as a musician and a guitar player, I'll hear little things. And in the verse, I love how he has kind of his vocals double with like a lower harmony. It's just very, very cool. I forgot to mention that. But moving right along with this review here, we have track 2, Why. Now, why am I going to talk about this song? Well, I want to tell you why. I suck. So, yeah, not really funny, but moving on with the review here. Why is definitely my favorite track from Outshined. Definitely my favorite track on the record. And that says something because I love all of these songs. I can pretty much just tell you guys right now, this is not any kind of a negative review. So if you're looking for that, you came to the wrong place. And I'm not biased, just for the record. I would be very honest with you guys if there was something I did not like on this EP. But Why, as you guys may or may not know, happens to be the intro and outro song for this podcast. I've also played it here on the podcast before. Fun fact, it was actually also the first intro and outro song for the podcast when the song was in its demo format. So that's kind of interesting. If you want to hear this song in its early stages, you can go all the way back to episodes 1 through, I want to say 1 through 10, and then it changed to another Outshined song. But definitely check that out. But if you've listened to the podcast since episode, I think 50, I have Outshined song Why, this new version, up since then as my intro and outro. It was also the first song I actually ever heard from Outshined, and there's a funny story about that if you guys go back and listen to episodes 51 and 52 when Outshined were on the podcast. Kind of a funny story about that. But this song starts off with a wicked bass intro from Braden, along with some kind of ambient guitar noises, and then it kicks into the main riff, and it just kicks your ass. The drums, the tone of the guitars, everything, it just kind of pummels you. Very, very cool, straight up hard rock song and riff. Heading into the verse, Brandon starts to paint a picture, kind of a story of loss from the point of view of a child abandoned by a drug-addicted parent. Just real quick, I want to say this is not from personal experience for Brandon at all. Brandon's mom is a wonderful, nice lady. I have had the pleasure of meeting her and talking with her a couple of times. Brandon talks a little bit more in depth about the song and that kind of thing on the podcast we did about all these songs. They kind of talk a little bit more in depth. If you guys want to hear more about that, you can check out that episode of the podcast. But kicking into the powerhouse of a chorus, it will get stuck in your head within seconds with the great hook it has, the soaring vocals, the cool background leads and melodies that the guys do, the kind of the group vocals. It's a great hard rock song. I promise you guys, the chorus will get stuck in your head. I know from experience, it's been stuck in my head ever since I heard it. And you'll understand what I mean when you hear it. It definitely has my favorite solo on the record on here. I love the solo Brandon does. It's a very Tremonti-esque, but still different, you know. He's definitely carved out kind of a niche for himself as far as his own sound of solos are concerned on this record. Most of the people I've shown Outshined to pick this as their favorite song. They go, this song is great. Like they say, this song, if I heard this song on the radio, I'd buy the record. And you know, I agree. I think Why is a great song. I think it's the radio song. You know, maybe I'm crazy. But that's what I think anyway, personally, about the song. It's a rockin' tune. I don't really have much else to say about it. You guys may have heard me talk about this song before. You may have heard it before, but that aside, get ready to rock. This is Why.
Would come when you lost your hat. They walked out the door, leaving you sad. But they'll never come back, you can't save today. Move on with your life, let it fade away. Why did you have to go and find the things you it go. Face the fear, well everyone knows that it's been a few years. Things have been hard, now you gotta move on. You can't hide the truth for the rest of your life. Why did you have to go and find the things you lost that day? Why did you have to leave today? Now you have to find your way.
Alright guys, just want to take a quick second here to give a big shout out to the first ever sponsor and big time supporter of the Hotter Show, my man Mr. Jason Reese over at Jaybird Digital Arts. Now what exactly does Jason do? Well, if you guys need any kind of logos, t-shirts, posters, album design, tickets, photo manipulation, you guys still with me? Advertising, business stationery, mailers, brochures, fine art, and literally anything else you can think of, Jaybird Digital Arts can create it. No project is just a generic template, and every single job is a new opportunity to create something unique. Jason's done all the Hotter Show logos, t-shirts, banners, and even a meme here and there, so I can promise you that you will love and be inspired by what Jason comes up with. You can find him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.com, or you can find him on Facebook under the Jaybird Digital Arts handle, as well as on Instagram. If you happen to use his services, be sure to let him know that TJ sent you. Hell yeah, that was Why, guys. Hope you enjoyed hearing the full version. Like I said, that's my favorite Outshined song and my favorite song off this EP, so you know that I had to hang out and rock out with it with you guys on that. It's killer track. But continuing on with the review here, we have track 3, In the Garden. This is one of the more radio friendly tracks on the EP. The EP kind of takes a nice little not detour, but like kind of a nice little stop off in ballads slash radio rock-eville, if that makes any sense. But this song definitely showcases their ability to not only write a verse that you will love, but a serious hook. This is another song that it will get stuck in your head the second you hear it. The first time I heard this song, to be brutally honest with you guys, I wasn't a massive fan of it. I don't know why, but it grew on me so quickly, and to the point where I've been singing it to myself for the last month at least. The guitar work is spot on, and the bass soloing that Braden does in the song, kind of in the bridge solo section, is really great. Kind of more closer to a ballad than a full rock track, but Garden, it's a great change of pace. Like I said, the EP takes a nice little detour in a way, I guess, in the next two songs. And you don't miss the hard rock and stuff when they write hooks like this. This is actually the producer Brandon Bowden's favorite song off this EP, In the Garden. Very cool. The guitar work is great. The tones are great. The one thing I love about this song is the in the verse, when the verse starts out, it has that nice little kind of strum of the acoustic guitar, and the tone of that acoustic guitar is beautiful. I mean, Brandon's guitar tones are amazing on this whole record. Braden's tones are amazing, and Dylan's drums all sound great. They talk a little bit more in depth on the podcast that we did. I'm sorry I keep mentioning these podcasts, but I keep thinking of stuff that happens on them. And they kind of go a little bit more in depth with this kind of stuff, as far as what they use on the record and stuff like that. So definitely check out those episodes if you're more interested in that kind of thing. But definitely a great song. Like I said, it's hooky. It will keep you going. You'll be singing it to yourself weeks. Just like every other song on the CP, really. It's actually a song that Braden wrote the majority of, from what I understand. The boys were talking about it when they were on the podcast. So definitely very cool. The lyrics are really nice and great as well. Kind of a look back in a way. Maybe of a lost love or something like that, from what I gather from it. I'm probably way off, but that's what I get from it. So get ready to hear this track. This is In the Garden. Let's hear it.
Silence once it comes to you, a clever thought in a crowd of fools, believed by none and lost on you. Somewhere out there, you know, inside of you, you'll find all the right things to do. No one cares what you've been through. When the world comes to do you wrong, where do you belong? All beliefs you'll have to pardon. I'd like to stay in the garden. Thicker skin will have to harden. Leave me in the garden. Treasured memories of the fallen. I'd like to stay in the garden. Maybe gone but not forgotten. Leave me in the garden. A distant smile with vacant eyes. Behind the face no one resides. A plastic dreamer in disguise. Empathy is always lost on you. There's nothing more for you to do. Nothing more that you can do. When the world comes to do you wrong, where do you belong? Flaw beliefs you'll have to pardon. I'd like to stay in the garden. Thicker skin will have to harden. Leave me in the garden. Treasured memories
guy, we are rolling right along with this review here. That was In the Garden. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. I forgot to mention, I keep forgetting to mention stuff for some reason. The bridge for that song is like one of the best bridges I've ever heard. The kind of post solo, and it's a wicked solo, by the way, after Braden's little bass lead solo type deal, Brandon's vocals and that. It's just a really, really nice feel good bridge. So definitely a great tune. Again, that was In the Garden. Now, the next track we're going to talk about is entitled Sunrise. Now, this track surprised me. I'm not going to lie. When Brandon told me that they were going to do a ballad on the EP called Sunrise, I kind of broke his balls about it a bit. I was just like, really, man? Like, come on. Like, really? What can it be? Oh, you, my sunrise. I love you. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on, man. But all joking and that kind of thing aside, I was very excited to hear it. I am a huge fan of acoustic style ballads, regardless of what I may say. I really do enjoy them. And this song blew me away, guys. Starting out with a beautiful sounding acoustic intro. Very nice guitar work from Brandon. Beautiful acoustic sound. He definitely shows off kind of his more soulful vocals in this track. Definitely singing a very clear message to someone very special to him. He tells a story and paints a picture of watching a beautiful sunrise with someone he loves very much. You know, obviously telling a story very specifically of, you know, the old bridge and, you know, the smell of campfires and that kind of thing. Like, it's a very beautiful lyrics in this song. Very, very well written. You know, comparing this person that he is speaking about and loves very much. I mean, I know who it is, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, yes, he's talking about this person specifically, because music is meant to be taken the way it is. But he's talking about his girlfriend, okay? This is what it is. But comparing his girlfriend to a sunrise in beauty. I mean, I think isn't that just the cutest damn thing you've ever heard in your life? Seriously though, all joking aside, is a awesome track. It's one that I actually go to the most, to be honest with you guys, to listen to on repeat. I just love this song. It's a serious track, and it not only has crossover potential, but this is one of those songs that it could be almost like a Trojan horse song, in the sense of get fans that may not check out songs like Wire Shut because they're like, oh, it's like hard rock music and there's loud guitars and stuff. This is one of those songs that it would get fans like that into Outshined, into this band, and then they might hear a song like In the Garden and dig it, and then kind of slowly work their way up to more harder rock songs. Definitely it's one of those types of songs. The entire song presentation is absolutely flawless. The groove that Dylan and Braden lay down is like, it's legendary. It is perfect for what this song needs. They don't overdo it. Even the guitar works and that kind of thing, like, it doesn't overdo it. It's exactly what it needs to be. The solo and the bridge and that kind of thing, it's all exactly where it needs to be. It's a beautiful song. It leaves you with a very good feeling at the end of it. Kind of the same way Garden does to me. It leaves me with this really nice feeling, but this one a little more because it's like a very nice kind of ballad. It definitely makes you think of someone special. Gives you those kind of feelings for that person. I know for me personally, it definitely makes me think of Sam, obviously, and that kind of thing. So it is a beautiful song. Even if you aren't into kind of the ballad type stuff, like I said, you know, I did kind of bust his chops about it a little bit when he told me we're gonna have a ballad on the EP. I was like, really, bro? Come on. But like I said, the presentation of the song is flawless. I know when you hear it, you guys are going to love it. Pay close attention to, because some of the lyric writing on this is really great. If you're a guitar player, Brandon's playing is just, his acoustic playing is just flawless on this song. It's very great. The groove laid down. Just pay close attention musically as well, because sometimes songs like this, you can kind of get lost in the lyrics and that kind of thing, and the vocals, and his vocals are amazing on this. Everything is so crisp and clean and great, and it's a beautiful song. Enough about it. Let's crank it up. This is Sunrise.
Just another normal summer night. You and I going down the dirt road, the smell of campfires in the air, as we head on down to the old bridge. The world is ours under the stars. We're watching the sunrise. It's beautiful like your eyes. That's when I grabbed your hand and held it tight. Your smile will always shine bright like a shooting star across the night sky. You are my sunrise. We watch the stars appear one by one. The sun starts to fade away till morning comes, leaving a glow, lighting up the horizon. That's when a voice in my head told me you're the one. The world is ours under the stars. We're watching the sunrise. It's beautiful like your eyes. That's when I grabbed your hand and held it tight. Your smile will always shine bright like a shooting star across the night sky. You are my sunrise. Watching the sunrise, it's beautiful like your eyes. Like your eyes, we're watching the sunrise. It's beautiful like your eyes. That's when I grabbed your hand and held it tight. Your smile will always shine bright like a shooting star across the night sky. You are my sunrise. We're watching the sunrise. It's beautiful like your eyes. That's when I grabbed your hand and held it tight. Your smile will always shine bright like a shooting star across the night sky. You are my sunrise.
Alright, that was Sunrise, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, that's a beautiful, beautiful song. Great musicianship and vocals and lyrics and that all around. I see that being a massive radio hit one day, in my opinion. But moving right along, getting back into the rock side of things, we have track 5 of the EP, Situation Overload. Now, when I first read this title, guys, I'm not going to lie, again, I kind of busted the guy's chops a little bit. I was like, really? It's better not be like a generic rock track. You know how some modern rock bands just try to sound like old rock bands? I hate that. And I was like, boys, like, I was a little worried, I'm not going to lie. But was I ever wrong? Was I ever wrong? Situation Overload tells the story of someone who is living with a deadly disease to which they are losing their battle. Is a very, very heavy subject matter lyrically. I think most of us have a family member who may be in this position at one point. The guitar work on this song is some of the grooviest on the record. Definitely very straight up rock. And I think this song, again, has one of the best solos on the record. I keep saying that, but his guitar work is always great. So the groove that's laid down by Braden and Dylan is seriously like just groovy, and that alone will get stuck in your head. The music will get stuck in your head. Kind of tying in with that, with the heavy subject matter and Brandon's vocals. It's all on point. Like they really do a great job with this song. It's definitely very straight up rock and roll, and it's a whole great song. It's very interesting for the EP. It's definitely kind of a standalone on the EP as far as lyrical content and that kind of thing. The only thing negative I have to say at all about anything on this EP, in this song in particular, is just that this is my least favorite song on the EP. But I still play it on repeat all the time. So what does that tell you? Maybe because it was more of a straight up kind of rock and roll kind of track. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I kind of like the more straightforward hard rock stuff. But still, it's a great song. It's just, this is probably my least favorite on the record, and it's still a killer song. Some of you guys are going to hear it and go, what the hell? How is this his least favorite song? And it's hard, guys, okay? There's 6 songs, and they're all friggin' great. But either way, take it for what it's worth. I still play it on repeat all the time, so it is what it is. I gotta say something in this review, somewhat critique negative, and I guess that would be the only thing I have to say is this song. Just I would have, it's maybe a little groove rocky for me personally, but that is what it is. Like I said, I still play on repeat all the time. But we're gonna crank it up. Turn your volumes up to 11. This is Situation Overload.
Situation overload. Break the mind.
All right, guys, that was Situation Overload. Hopefully your necks aren't too hurt from rocking out to that groovy as hell track. Absolutely love that song. The next song we have is the final song of the EP, the final message from the band for this recording, this offering from Outshined, and mostly with last songs. You want to leave a good first impression. You want to leave a good impression on the listener, and they want to end off with a strong track. And do they do that with this song? I can honestly say, hell yes, they certainly do. This song, track 6, "Set Me Free," is another song I've kind of had the pleasure of hearing and seeing grow into this killer, huge track that it's become. Brandon playing me it acoustically in the shop at times and that kind of thing, hearing the demo recordings of it and that. It's always been a great kind of hard rock, almost bluesy in the verses kind of tune. And this version of it, the final version, it is amazing. This song, it is huge. It feels so massive. A song speaking directly to someone who's trying to hold you back, or who's taking something from you that could be holding you back, or who is doing something to hold you back in some way. It's a song of power to me. Incredibly bluesy vocals and guitar work in the verse, going into the massive chorus with the huge, powerful rhythms and vocals. To me, it's almost not a song of like rebellion, but the vocals and the chorus, just you thought you had power, blah. Like it's very powerful. Definitely a great song. I know a lot of people pick this song as one of their favorites too. It's got definitely one of my favorite endings. As far as if you haven't seen Outshined live, when they play this song at the ending, it's just amazing. It's huge. And on the EP, just when it's over, it literally, you sit there and you just go, holy crap, what just happened? Outshined happened, ladies and gentlemen. Set Me Free happened. It is an amazing song. I love the dobro in the verse. Very cool. The whole tune, the groove laid down by the rhythm section of Mr. Braden Jeffries and Dylan Porter is amazing. It is all great. It's just a huge song. I promise afterwards you'll be like, what the hell just happened? But that is it for the review, guys. I will check in with you guys after we hear this huge rockin' tune. Crank it up one last time. One more song. This is Set Me Free.
Was a great life we had, and nothing you can do will bring it back. Too late to save it now. I never wanna go through that again. I never wanna face my past, and now that you screwed me over, victims of change should hang on to hope and leave me be, set me free.
Holy crap, what's just happened? Guys, that was Outshined's self-titled EP in its entirety with some reviews for each songs by yours truly. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed hearing some great straight-up rock music. Even if you heard the songs before, hopefully you enjoyed rocking out to them and agree with my opinions on some of them. Overall, there is really nothing negative I can say about this record, guys. And again, some people might say, oh, you're biased because, they've been on your podcast and you're friends with them and blah, blah, blah. And that's not true. I told the guys that when I heard this record, if there was something I didn't like on it, I would tell them. I would be brutally honest with them. And they said, please do. I'm not that kind of person who, I'm not going to review a record if I have nothing but negative things to say about it anyway. But if I didn't think this record was a 10 out of 10, I would tell you guys. And, well, guess what? Yeah. I have to give this record a 10 out of 10. I literally can't. Maybe I'm too nice with my ratings. I've only done one other review like this before, and that other record got a 10 out of 10 as well. But either way, this record is definitely worth your money. You can check it out on iTunes. Go on their website, www.outshined.ca, in order to check it out. Check out any show listings they have. You can buy a physical copy there. Any merch they have, check them out, guys. They are an awesome band. Great group of guys. One more time, if you have not heard them on the podcast, I highly recommend you check it out. It's episodes 28 and 29 were with the singer Brandon Hastings, and episodes 51 and 52 were with the whole band. But that's going to do it for the Outshined review here today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, clicking that play button, regardless of how you're listening. If you are on the SoundCloud, be sure to leave a like and comment on this podcast. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought of some of the tunes. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up with everything going with the Harder Show on SoundCloud. If you're listening in on the YouTube, be sure to hit like or dislike on this video, depending on what you thought of it. Comment away, of course. Always have to chat with you guys. And last but absolutely not least, if you are listening on the iTunes, which you guys know is the easiest way to listen to The Harder Show, then be sure to leave a rating on there for me. Always really appreciate it. Be sure to comment if you do so I know who you are and I can thank you properly on the podcast. And of course, hit that subscribe button, guys. Once you do that, you don't even have to think about it. Every time an episode is uploaded, it will be automatically downloaded to your device. But that's going to do it for me here today, guys. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in and helping me reach 70 episodes. I seriously appreciate it. Huge shout out to Outshined for allowing me to do this and play your music for my listeners. I will catch you guys next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.